We're sitting here with Eileen Kean and Lou Keating, candidates for Neptune Township Committee this year, and they're ready to have a conversation with Neptune voters.
I just had so much fun distributing this newsletter that we put together, and the feedback on the idea of a newspaper has been fabulous. And in fact, it almost reminds me, it makes me dwell on why I'm involved in running for Neptune Township Committee and why I even got involved in running for public office in the first place. New Jersey is such a frustrating state to live in. I love New Jersey. I love the beach. I love Neptune Township. And that's why I moved to Ocean Grove. But it's really scary when we just see how things have escalated. I mean, think about that figure that we have documented, that the budget itself has jumped $5 million in 1 year, and it's reflected in the property tax.
There are a number of things that need attention, and not having been in the political arena whatsoever, still in private industry, when you, not only as a resident, when you see things like this and you receive that tax bill and you hear about expenses going up, no one's turning around and helping the average citizen saying, you know what, we're going to buy you this, we're going to get you another vehicle, or we're going to go out and invest money, or we're going to float some more bonds. I don't know about you, but the last thing in the world I want is debt. And to continuously, take on new debt, and the interest payments that come with that over a period of time is, to me, save the money, and then if you need it, spend it on a rainy day has always been my philosophy on that.
Development is so important to Ocean Grove and to Neptune Township because we need the dollars that the rateable will bring into Neptune to help with this budget. Can you imagine if the spending continues like this every year? And what are we going to face next year? Another $5 million without any real tightening. I'm sure in industry you see that that's what's being done, is tightening everywhere.
Unlike, well, in industry, certainly our clients, are continuously pushing back on ways to improve service, ways to improve efficiencies and effectiveness within our own organization. And it's not uncommon for our clients to come back to us and insist that we waive any rate adjustments or any rate increases for the subsequent years, but find efficiencies within the operation. And to your point about, various projects within the township that have been discussed or earmarked over a period of time that have remained stagnant, and we haven't gotten any forward momentum. You mentioned the North End, and I agree. I've been a resident here of the township since 1987, and I live in the Shark River Hills section, but I've had opportunity to come over here to Ocean Grove, and certainly the boardwalk in the beach area is a wonderful experience. But as you get up to that North End and you see that vacant piece of property, and you see a pool that's just sitting there vacant, and it's surrounded by a fence, it's really not offering any appeal to the community, certainly. And as to your point, relative to additional sources of revenue for the township, let's take that piece of property and do something with it. There's been a variety of discussions, and I'm not overly well versed into some of the minutiae of it, but I am sure that there is going to be an accommodation that can be made that will make everyone satisfied, and let's move on, and let's not just keep dragging up old issues. It's time for a change. It's time for something new.
When you say move on, it reminds me that we've worked hard this summer and we're now approaching the fall season, but it's interesting in that this has been a strange summer in terms of the weather, and that is the feedback from storekeepers in Ocean Grove. It just wasn't consistent. The weekends were never consistent, and the summer got started so late.
Right.
So business revenues are down, and that further escalates the anger towards Neptune Township as far as the taxes are going and being received as a result of those taxes. It makes me wonder what you're hearing also in Shark River Hills. I mean, certainly now that summer has passed, dredging is such a problem. The other night, and the river was dry.
Yeah,
so
when you get the west wind and full moon, you can almost envision walking across the pieces of the dry part, the dry land. But you mentioned, as far as other sources of income to the township, you know, we need to recognize that we have tourism, and tourism is not just limited to any one particular area of the town, but Shark River Hills has a wonderful municipal marina now, and certainly I think that that's been a well received situation by not only the immediate community but the township as a whole, and we need to capitalize on that. What's very frustrating is when you drive by the marina and you see the marina is vacant. Now I'm just wondering, is it economics? I'm sure there's probably something to that. But I think further to that is...
Or is it the river? The fact that river isn't pretty anymore.
You're right on with that.
Yeah.
I've been a boater for well over 25 years, and I've navigated the back channels, and I have to tell you that if you're not familiar with where you're going, you will wind up on a bar and you'll sit there until the tide comes back in. So I think to that end, the fact that we have this great infrastructure already, and to build upon that, we need to have accessibility in and out of the river. And not only just for the boating traffic, but you have fishermen that are in there, you have people that are looking to create sailing programs, the children. I mean, we were at that dredging meeting in Wall where they were trying to bring consensus among the townships. And here you had the students from Neptune High School each giving a presentation on why the river should be saved. So, you know, it's not only one particular section of the community, but it's an entire community banding together, recognizing that we need to move forward and as quickly as possible.
You mention tourism. It seems that there's been an attempt to make those outlets and to evolve the Chelsea property a destination for tourists,
right.
or perhaps what to do when in the summertime or in the fall. Go shopping, go to the Chelsea premium outlet malls and get great bargains. But it really disturbs me that project, the burden that the Neptune Township residents would carry because of traffic and the cut-through roads that really can't handle the traffic, the shortcuts. And now there's this application to build a Lowe's on Route 66. Route 66 is already burdened by traffic. It can't handle it.
You know, you mentioned that. It was just a few weeks ago. I was over at Home Depot picking up a few items. And I typically run the back way back into where we live. And
you take a shortcut.
Well, I run through the back of Gully Road coming back in through the hills. But what was interesting is I decided, after hearing a lot of what's going on, what the residents have been saying, I decided to make a right-hand turn out of the parking lot and proceed on Route 66 eastbound. Well, lo and behold, I get out of the parking lot, and I'm probably no more than 100 yards from that point east, and I come to a dead stop. Now I'm at somewhat of a crest of the roadway, and I have this view, which was it was interesting to see it because now I can understand what people are saying. There is just a line of traffic all the way to Green Grove Road where there was a red light.
Right.
And obviously the westbound traffic, you can visually see the westbound traffic waiting as well. So, you know, it took me probably 2 signal changes before I got to the intersection. Talk about, you know, the limited amount of development that has gone on in that area, but yet what has been discussed, you know, you have the Lowe's project coming in, we have that Holiday Inn that's being built, I hear there's a Wawa supposed to be going in. I mean, when these businesses are up and running without taking care of the infrastructure, whether, you know, we have the state come in and say, you know what, we're going to pitch in and help you on this, or we have the people that are proposing these projects
The developers helping
come in and say, you know what, yeah, we recognize there's an issue here, and let's see what we can do to try to mitigate the problem.
And you're right, and the bottom line is that right now, that is 66 is a state highway, and the state does not consider it a priority, so yeah.
But, you know, it needs to be addressed, and certainly if we let properties remain undervalued or not used to the best possible advantage, you know, the township will suffer eventually, because then industry or businesses that are looking to develop a presence in the community are going to find somewhere else to go. And what will happen is not only won't we have that business in our community where those ratables will come into our community, but what we're going to do is allow that business to open up in a surrounding community, but yet we, as a community, as a township, are still going to incur the traffic patterns as we are now with the outlets.
Yes.
Or we're going to become a passive player in the whole process, and the big box is going to go somewhere, and the traffic is going to have to get there. And chances are, what's the nickname of Neptune? Crossroads of the Jersey Shore. But what are you going to see? You're going to see the traffic flowing in and out of the community without any ratables to support it. And that will be a problem.
That is unacceptable. Yeah.
So,